Serious stuff. Very nice.
We're going.
We are going, we are going. Good evening, everyone. We're just here for a committee of adjustment meeting in person and live stream electronically. So we'll open the meeting with our land acknowledgement. The council and the staff of the Township of Montague acknowledge that the sacred land on which the Township of Montague is now located, and this meeting is being held as land ancestral and ceded territory of the Algonquin Ashabi Nation. So I'll go through the meeting part of this. So the introduction is the purpose of this public meeting is to hear the following applicants for a minor variance. So A24-002, the applicants. The committee is charged with making a decision on the application noted on this agenda. The decision will be based on both oral and written input received and understandings gained. The four key factors on which decisions are based include: is the application generally in keeping with the intent of the township's official plan? Is the application generally in keeping with the intent of the township's zoning bylaw? Is the application desirable for the appropriate development or use of the site? Is the application minor in nature and scope? The junior planner will provide a brief overview of the details of the file. The applicants will then be given an opportunity to explain the need for the variance. Then any person or public body in opposition and then favor to the applicant will be heard. If the person or public body does not make oral or written submissions at a public meeting or make a written submission to the Township of Montague before the decision is passed, the person or public body may not be added to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal OLT unless the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment with respect to the below listed application, you must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee Adjustment at planner@township.on.ca, or you must sign the attendance list provided at this evening's meeting. This will entitle you to be advised that the possible OLT hearing, even if you are a successful party, you should request a copy of the decision, since the Committee of the Adjustment decision may be appealed to the OLT by the applicant or another member of the public. The Secretary Treasurer must provide notice of the committee's decision to all those who request a copy. Anyone may appeal the decision to the OLT by filing the Secretary Treasurer within 20 days of the notice of decision, which is online now too as well, correct me if I'm wrong. So hopefully we don't have to use it, but just have to put that in there. At this time, is any disclosures of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest of general nature? Therefore, please let me know. I see none. So we'll approve the agenda. So.
Anyone.
You know, I'm just gonna get it around. So moved by Brian Gibbs and seconded by Karen Jennings that the agenda adopted as presented, amended to include the revised minutes from June 4th, 2024. All in favor? That's good. So at this time, I'll pass it over to Kristen.
Correct. Okay. Good evening, committee members, applicants, members of the public. The owners of 161 Old Orchard Lane are applying to the Committee of Adjustment for relief from the provisions of the Township zoning bylaw as it relates to maximum lot coverage in a limited services residential zone and the maximum height for an accessory structure not used for human habitation. The subject property is an undersized lot of record of approximately 0.21 hectares in size and is accessed by a private road known as Old Orchard Lane. This property has dual zoning. The majority, approximately 0.19 hectares, is zoned limited services residential. There is a strip along the waterfront, approximately 0.02 hectares, zoned floodplain. So the lands are currently developed with a dwelling serviced by a private well and septic system. There are attached decks, a detached garage and a small shed. The garage and shed will be removed following construction of the proposed replacement detached garage. The maximum lot coverage in the LSR zone is 10%. When calculating lot coverage, we look solely on buildable areas. So the portion zone floodplain, which is not buildable, does not factor into that equation. The current lot coverage is 9.17%. And with the proposed construction of the garage and the removal of the existing garage and shed, the resultant lot coverage would be 12%. The maximum height for an accessory building in a residential zone that is not being used for human occupancy, for example, an ARU, is 5 meters. The current garage is 2.9 meters in height. The proposed two-story garage would be 7.62 meters in height. This property has definite obstacles when it comes to development. It is undersized and it is also a waterfront property. The location of the existing dwelling, the well, the septic system, hydro line access, parking area, the regulated floodplain, all of these make development quite challenging. So when we're evaluating an application for minor variance, the Planning Act has a 4-test rule. The first test is whether the application meets the intent of the township's official plan policies. So this property is located in a settlement area pursuant to the township's official plan. These areas are deemed to be the most desirable and appropriate areas for residential development if they're able to be properly serviced. And as stated previously, these lands are already developed and are on private services. Further accessory uses that are appropriate to residential uses, for example, a garage that would be incidental to a dwelling, would be permitted within a settlement area. The official plan provides that natural features are to be protected, and this property does have a small area of unevaluated wetland to the rear of the subject lands on the opposite side of Old Orchard Lane. The development that's being proposed was not deemed to be consequential to this feature, so an EIS was not required. And the proposed garage is located outside of the 30-meter waterfront setback as well. The official plan further states that hazards are to be avoided if possible. Floodplain designation is deemed to be a natural hazard. The applicants propose to construct the garage outside of the floodplain regulation limit. And when they move forward with their future dwelling renovations, and minor variance is not anticipated to be required because the location and the footprint will remain the same. They will, however, be required to obtain a permit from RBCA because the development would be within the floodplain regulation limit. So it is staff's opinion that the development proposed complies with the intent of the township's official plan. This is not ideal for me here. The second test is whether the application generally meets the intent of the township zoning bylaw. So as stated previously, the property has dual zoning, limited services residential and floodplain. And the proposed development will be located within the boundaries of the limited services residential designation, which permits dwellings and associated accessory uses. The relief requested, as stated previously, is twofold. Firstly, the applicants are requesting relief from the 10% lot coverage. As stated previously, this is an undersized lot of record, and the lot coverage provisions are generally put in place to ensure there's appropriate level of density and that there is sufficient open space on a developed property. The 12% proposed isn't inconsistent with other area waterfront properties. Secondly, the applicants are looking for relief from the maximum 5-meter accessory building height provisions. These provisions are put in place in residential zoning designations because development generally tends to be denser and on smaller properties. There could be privacy concerns for accessory structures used for human occupation, but this garage is not proposed to be used for that purpose. And regardless, an ARU is not permitted by right in the limited services residential zone. So it wouldn't be able to be used for that purpose anyway. And accordingly, it's staff's opinion that this development proposal complies with the township's zoning bylaw. The third test is whether this application is desirable for the appropriate development of this site. The subject lands are already developed with a dwelling on private services, and the proposal is for a replacement garage, an appropriate and common use. There are no negative impacts anticipated, and there have been no comments received from property owners. It is staff's opinion that the development proposed is a desirable and appropriate use. The fourth and final test is whether the application is minor in nature and scope. The applicants aren't proposing to change the use of the lands. They are simply wishing to construct a 2-story replacement garage. Notice was circulated to all landowners within 60 meters of the subject lands as well as prescribed agencies under the Planning Act. No comments of concern have been received. Notice was also posted on the subject lands and on the township's website. None of the circulated neighbors have contacted the township to express any concerns. Subsequent to the staff report attached to this agenda, RVCA did write a letter to the township advising they've reviewed the application that was submitted and had no objections to the proposed development. It is staff's opinion accordingly that this development is minor in nature and scope. Staff's recommendation for this application is to permit the construction of a replacement two-story detached garage that would result in lot coverage of 12%, as well as to permit the construction of said replacement two-story detached garage at a maximum height of 7.62 meters, with the following conditions. The variance is solely for relief from the maximum lot coverage and maximum accessory building height provisions in zoning bylaw 4070/2024 to permit the construction of a replacement two-story detached garage. The minor variance is approved based on the sketch submitted with the application. The applicants are required to remove the existing shed and existing detached garage from the subject lands. The applicants are required to enter into a site plan agreement with the township of Montague and to have same registered on title prior to commencing development. And the applicants are required to obtain all required building and septic permits from the township of Montague. Following the committee's decision this evening, there will be a 20-day appeal period. If no appeals are received within this time frame, the decision of the committee will be deemed final and binding.
Well done. I'm just gonna clean something up real quick here because I did miss this. Just the minutes from the last meeting. Moved by Tom Mann and seconded by Jim Bass at the committee of adjusted meeting. Minutes dated June 4th, 2024. Be accepted as presented. All in favor? Thanks for letting me do that. What's next for me?
If the applicants would.
The applicants, yeah, nobody from the public here, so you can say like if the
If they
applicants want to speak at all.
comments, you don't have to, but if you'd like to add anything, you're welcome to.
I mean, obviously, given that we're on a waterfront property, the purpose of building up is so that we don't, obviously get further into the floodplain. We are trying to protect the land, but also allow the land to grow with us. We do have 2 young children, so having a larger garage that does have the upstairs for storage would be truly beneficial. So we hope that, you guys, yeah, we can proceed and go forward with our plans.
Do our best here for sure, yeah. At this point, any questions from the committee at all?
No.
Makes it pretty easy.
No, I looked at the site, it was very appropriate for the site. Beautiful site.
There you go. Tom approves, that's good. So, we hope that also like the experience too as well with working with the township too as well. We obviously want to incentivize. We want people to move in. It's great that the nice young families doing that too as well. So I hope this is has been a smooth. It's probably a bit of an education process too as well through this. Like anybody that goes through this. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's been a bit of a learning curve, but a good learning curve.
yeah, it is. Yeah, good. So it's so continue to work, see with the township and Chris and everything else. And as you go to the site plans, how do you feel as well? I'm sure it'll hopefully go smoothly for you. So it's all right, well, we'll continue on with the next state. Anything else besides just reading through this person or?
So the recommended decision in the agenda, so I don't know if you want to read that or not. And I would like to just point out that one of the conditions was unfortunately omitted from there, and that was the applicant's requirement to remove the existing garage and shed. So there are 5 conditions to development that should be noted in the agenda.
So that's, I'll just go through this real quick and then I can just be official for that. So I have a move by Karen Jennings and seconded by Tom May. That is matter of the application under section 45 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 P13 as amended, the minor variance application A24-001 is approved to allow for a variance from the requirements of section 3.27 water frontage and water setbacks and 3.24 street setbacks of the zoning.
I think that might be from previous minutes, I think fourth it says.
You're right.
All of
That's okay.
all the resolutions are not correct.
Are they all,
I
okay,
changed them
they
all.
got monkeyed a bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So, yeah.
So, yeah, none of them have been correct persons, so, I can pull it up here.
Okay. I think the ones in the folder were from the last meeting for Jeff to sign, they weren't for tonight's meeting.
No, they say you.
my bad.
That's okay.
I will restart this line here. It's fine. That's cool. Yeah, that's fine. My apologies for there. So file number 24-002, 161 Old Orchard Road. The recommended decision is that in the matter of the application under section 45 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 P13 as amended, that minor variance application A24-002 is approved to allow for the variance for the requirements of section 4.1 accessory building and uses and 6.3 limited services resolution, residential maximum lot coverage of zoning bylaw 4070-2024 for the lands municipality described. That's 161 Old Orchard Lane and legally described as part of Lot 1 Concession A, Township of Montague, County of Lanark, being the Part 1 of 27R-9061 and a Part 1 on 27R-4750, rule number 0901000010240002. Increase the maximum lot coverage from 10% to 12%. Of zoning bylaw 4070-2024 to permit the construction of a replacement of a two-story detached garage. Increase the maximum height of an accessory structure not utilized for the human in a residential zoning for 5 meters to 7.62 meters to permit the construction of a replacement two-story detached garage. Subject to the following conditions. The variance is solely for the relief of the maximum lot coverage and the maximum accessory building height provisions in zoning bylaw 4070-2024 to permit the construction of the replacement two-story detached garage. The minor variance is approved based on the sketch submitted with the application. The applicants are required to enter into a site plan agreement with the Township of Montague and to have registered on the title prior to commencing development. The applicants are required to obtain all required building and septic permits from the Township of Montague, and there is a fifth one.
Yep.
The application for, are required to obtain all required building and septic permits from the Township of Montague.
That's the one?
Applicants are required to remove the existing garage
Obtain
and
the
shed.
required building and septic, okay, and then
Number 3.
Yeah, yeah,
the applicants are required to move the existing shed and existing detached
Yeah,
garage
that's
from subject lands. Does that all make sense, everybody?
yes.
We all got that, yeah. That's good. This is good, okay. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that?
I'll move that.
Sounds good, sounds good. All in favor? And that is passed. At this point, congratulations, we've moved on. So any other new or other business we want to discuss that we need to? Seeing none. So for adjournment, can I get a first and second for that too as well? I'll go to this side of the table. And all in favor? That is it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you.